Hi, this is Gary Kayye. We are here at the end of Integrate 2016 here in Sydney, Australia. I'm here with Soren Norgaard. He's the person in charge. First of all, how are you doing after 3 days of restless and barely sleep?
Well, I think you sort of thrive on the adrenaline, right, for
Yeah.
3 days, and as it comes to the end, you can really feel it. You start to get tired, but I'm also very excited because, the show this year has been fantastic again,
Yep.
and everyone's looking forward to the next edition. And in fact, our re-sign is about 2/3 of the show already.
So you're almost 2/3 full for 2017, which will be in Melbourne, which we'll get to in just a moment. But first of all, I want to thank you for inviting us to cover the show. This was a lot of fun. We've done other international shows, but this one seems more like a family show, which is really kind of neat because, and it's not just because it's smaller, but it's also because everybody was so friendly. We didn't have any pushback. Everyone was really open and willing to open up their booth and their stands to us. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you for the invitation. So I appreciate that.
Well, the sentiment is mutual. I'm really pleased that you made the effort to come down. You and your team have been fantastic, and of course we'd welcome you back in the future. You guys have done a great job of covering the show, and it will help us get to the broader community in the AV industry globally, which is great.
Right. Well, that's what we wanted to do was show that this show should be a global show. It just happens to be in Australia, and I think what we're going to see over the next few years is you're going to see a lot more international presence here, but more importantly, you're going to see a lot more major announcements here. And we had a few big major announcements here, some products that were never shown anywhere else before. So if you go to ravepubs.com/integrate 2016, you'll see them, and maybe we'll talk about some of those. But first of all, I want to ask you about how does this show compare to past years? Did it flow exactly like you wanted and expected, or was it different in the way that you saw new products introduced or new technology addressed? What are your thoughts there?
I think the show, so the feedback I'm getting is the balance of the show was better this year. So, and the way it was laid out was clearer. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, the show is not big enough to have grouping. So we don't have a digital signage pavilion. We don't have a UC pavilion, but we do have cross-representation from all those areas across the show, but it's balanced out between the show. So it's got that really nice, as you said, that really nice feel about it, and the energy in the show and the vibe has been fantastic.
I agree with you, and in fact, I would say that one of the things that I noticed that stood out to me was the amount of audio that is here. And interestingly enough, audio is more profitable than video, and a lot of people don't realize that. But there's a lot more audio here than I would have expected. And I was excited about that, and I was also excited about how many new products were launched here. So let's talk about one. LG chose your show to launch their wallpaper worldwide. This was a big deal because although they had done some private showings and some prototype showings, they showed a finished product here.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't privy to that before the show, and the unveiling came as a bit of a surprise, and they flew down their top management from Korea for this launch, and I think that's testament to Integrate, that they have chosen our show here in Australia to do so.
Yeah, and that is one of the things on the show floor that was packed the entire time. They literally hung, they had two different versions of it. One they hung with magnets, so that was kind of interesting to see them pull it off. They pulled it off the first day. The other one was a two-sided wallpaper display that's the thickness of poster board. The poster board used in primary school to do projects, but it was two-sided, and they encapsulated inside a glass. Huge, and when I first saw that, you're right, their entire, I don't know if it was the Kayye engineering group out of Korea was all there gathered around, because I think a lot of them hadn't seen the final product either.
Yeah, I mean, they were sort of a little bit secret about what was happening because I think, as you said, they've unveiled something that's a global launch, and I think they want to keep it a little bit under wraps, but it was worth the wait, and the exposure they've gotten through Rave and the likes, it's been good for them.
Yeah, we've already had over 3,000 views of that video. The other thing I noticed that was interesting here, that I think this show certainly paves the way. I think that we already know what the theme of ISE and Infocom and the future shows coming is going to be, AV over IP. I've not seen more AV over IP anywhere else than in this show. There were at least 21 companies that had finished products where they're sending video, not just audio and control, across the network, and that seemed to be a big theme at all different levels, uncompressed all the way down to fully compressed. Were you expecting that, or was that kind of a surprise too?
I did have a sense that was going to be the main theme this year, and that certainly was evident on the show floor. As you said, there were so many companies that had that, and with the likes of Aptivision and their products here. So I think that's a core theme of the industry going forward is that distribution, right?
Yeah, and I think by next year at this time we'll see everybody doing AV over IP, not just small and medium-sized companies. I think you'll see big and even projector and display companies having inputs that way. The other thing is that kind of surprised me was how everybody seems to know everybody. I kind of felt at the beginning of the show, I have to be honest, I felt a little bit like an outsider because I felt like I was walking into someone else's conversation. And by the end of the show, we've been getting invitations to everybody's dinners and parties and events, and they've also talked about understanding their product market outside of the Australia area, New Zealand area. So I feel like that this is a very much a family sort of oriented atmosphere, and that's a testament to sort of the culture, I guess, you've built here with the show.
Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily what I've built. It's the AV community in Australia. It is very tight knit. Australia's only so big, right? So everyone has connections within the industry, and personnel may go from one company to another. So everyone knows each other, and that's why I think this event is really key, because they back it and they come behind the show, and that's the AV community showcase right here. And we're fortunate enough also to be working with some of the key associations like CEDIA, Infocom. So it has become the showcase and the show that's been chosen to represent the AV community.
Yeah, in fact, I did a flash track seminar for Infocom. I did two. A keynote for you and then the 4K presentation, and it was a great experience having worked with CEDIA, Infocom, and you all together on this. Now, next year's show packs up and moves to Melbourne.
That's right.
Melbourne happens to be my personal, no offense to the Sydney watchers, my personal favorite city in all of Australia, because at least my perception is it's got kind of a European flair to it a little bit, and of course it's on the water as well. But what do you think? Is it, you gonna beat the attendance that you got? Offline you had talked about beating the attendance for last year, although you don't have final attendance numbers. Do you think Melbourne you're going to expect the same success?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that we will. As I said before, we've already got a lot of re-sign for next year's show. We're going back to the Melbourne Convention Exhibition Centre, which is a fantastic venue. And then, obviously, the year after, back to Sydney at the brand new International Convention Centre here in Sydney. So, from a venue perspective, we got the two premium venues in Australia, and we're going to be alternating between the two cities. But, your preference of Melbourne, that's also subjective, because I'm from Sydney and I prefer Sydney, but my marketing manager would probably say Melbourne because she's from Melbourne, right? There's always a bit of banter here in Australia between the two cities. Yeah,
and I will say that one thing that was really kind of cool was for those of you who have been watching our Snapchat story today, I took over the Snapchat for Thursday of the show, and we'll of course post that on Facebook for those of you who don't have Snapchat. But we actually did a quick tour of the, kind of a driving tour, I should say, of the different Olympic venues here. This is literally where the Olympics were held in 2000, and in fact, you were part of that. You actually, I don't want to go into too much detail about that because we got more stuff to talk about right. Technology, but you were in charge of the Olympic Village, if I remember right?
Yeah, well, I wasn't in charge, but I was part of the Villages team that put in all the accommodation and the fit out for the games here for both the athletes and the media villages.
Yeah, and this hall, there are two halls basically here. One was, what were they for? This basketball, and what was it? Was this tennis? What was in here? Do you know? Do you even remember?
I'm pretty sure that the actual circular dome building was the basketball, and these halls had the handball.
Okay.
Yeah.
And somebody else said that they may have flipped it on the second week to table tennis or something like that as well.
Possibly. Yeah. 16 years ago, there was.
It doesn't seem like that long ago.
I know.
But what's neat about it is they've kept all the facilities. So you go to any other Olympic city, and they've torn down most of the facilities. Everything is here together, which is kind of neat. It's a little bit outside of town. It's unfortunate we're not going to be coming back to this venue because it's kind of neat to see that. But being downtown or down, I don't know, you don't call it downtown, but Sydney, down in Sydney proper, at the Central Business District and over there in Darling Harbour is going to be beautiful. And in fact, tomorrow we're going to all head to the zoo, and we're going to hope to see a koala hold a kangaroo. So we'll see if that works out.
I hope it's the other way around, Gary.
See a kangaroo and
that's right. But no, you will enjoy that. Taronga Zoo is one of the best zoos globally. You know, it's a fantastic showcase, and I hope you'll have good weather as well. We had a bit of rain this week, which obviously is not really ideal, but you know, the weekend is looking pretty good.
Yep. And you've got some new exhibitors, and I don't know that you're ready to talk about it. You talked about it offline. You got some new exhibitors that are going to hit the show floor next year. I think that you're going to see some other global companies stake a claim to the show in the upcoming years. Are you seeing or feeling that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it has become, as I said, the showcase for the region, and we're seeing more manufacturers, international manufacturers, say, well, we need to have a presence at the show. You know, a lot of the product has traditionally been through distribution channels here in Australia, but I think now they see, well, actually there's merit. We should have our own showcase and support our distribution channels here in Australia.
And the other way around, too. There are a number of Australian and even New Zealand manufacturers here that were asking me a lot of questions about how to get into the international markets, specifically the North American and European markets. So I suspect we'll see more of that as well, and maybe our coverage of this show will help them expand their presence. We shot over 415 videos here over the course of 3 days. We're almost finished uploading them. By the time you watch this, they'll all be uploaded, so you can actually see 1, 2, 3 minute product pitches on all the products that were launched here and all the new stuff that was shown here on the show floor. This is a big show. It was a fantastic thing, and it was great to be part of. It's both a residential and a commercial show, and digital signage, and kind of a networking. There's quite a few software networking companies here as well. So check it all out at ravepubs.com/integrate 2016. And of course, we'll be back here in 2017. If people want more information about your show, if they want to exhibit, they want to attend, or they want to learn more about it, where's the best place for them to go online?
Oh, the best place would just go to the integrate-expo.com.au and go to our website. So all the information there. We'll be updating for the 17 details shortly, and yeah, that's the best.
Do you happen to know off the top of your head the dates for 2017?
I do. It's 29th to the 31st of August next year.
Okay, excellent. So about the same time, just slightly later. So we'll be there. But in the meantime, you've got a lot of stuff to watch and a lot of things to catch up on. We've written a lot of news stories about all the products that were launched here. We also shot about 500 photos of the show floor and posted those on our Facebook site and on the Integrate site. So you go to ravepubs.com/integrate 2016. And of course, the 400 plus videos that we shot, podcasts and other things is all wrapped up in one place. Soren, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Gary.
I would love to hear the final attendance numbers when you have them. We'll make sure we write a story about that. And thank you to your team. Your team has been, like I said, we feel like we're part of the family now, and we really appreciate the not only the advice that you guys gave us, but also the support you gave us and the kindness that you showed. So thank you.
All right. Well, I would like to sentiment those feelings, or replicate those feelings towards you, because you know you really embraced the show here, and your team have worked really hard at the show. And thank you very much for your support, and look forward to working with you in the future.
We do too, and we see our mantra as just helping the industry overall, and I love Australia. So this was a great opportunity for me to come here, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and of course, check out all of our videos at ravepubs.com.